And there we go. We are live.
Live and here.
Yes. But are we
And
alive in here?
no, that would be the question, wouldn't it?
How you doing, Jared?
I'm a little tired. I'm a little tired.
Hmm.
Delaney has been awake a lot.
Okay.
Our children, the dad life.
So we're not doing Tyler tales. This is a newborn tale.
mm, yeah. She's just been getting up early, man. And I think she's going through sleep regression or something. So like
Hmm.
last night she woke, so last night or the night before. I don't know. That tells you how I am functioning right now.
They're all blending
But it's
together.
like one continuous day. Uh, she woke up like 3 times, and she's usually been sleeping through the night recently. But man, oh man, it was not enjoyable time, especially for my wife. So
Sorry to hear that.
it comes with the territory, right? Comes with the territory of
Mhm.
little babies.
Yep. Lily has learned how to open doors.
Oh,
So now she gets herself up. We actually we have a hatch that has different lights on it. And so when it's
mm-hmm.
sleep time, it's a red light and it has a white noise background. And then at 7 a.m., it switches over to a green light. So I had to have a talk with her earlier this week when she walked into our room at like 6:15.
Ooh.
And I'm like, okay, Lily, let's get you a new diaper. But then you see that light over there? When it's red, you need to stay in your room. When it turns
Mm.
green, then it's okay. And so far, every day, she has respected the light. But every day at 7 a.m., boom, knock, knock, knock. Yep.
Yeah, Judah hasn't um gotten up. He can't really open doors yet either, but he's got his big boy bed now, so he kind of just climbs in. It's easy
Mm-hmm.
for him to get it up.
Yeah.
And he could get up and like knock on the door or whatever, in the mornings when he's up, but he's not. He just lays there. He's
Okay.
like a teenager. He eats Some days he eats all the food, some days he doesn't eat any food. And he just forgets to eat because he just plays for hours on end. And then he just lays in bed. Just he'll just
Yeah.
lay there.
Sounds like a teenager. Although one of the best
He's,
jokes I ever heard was about teenagers. It was from one of those "Thou Shalt Laugh" videos, so I don't take credit for this. But it was teenagers are God's revenge on mankind.
mm.
He says, "Let's see how they like it, creating someone in their own image who denies their very existence."
Like cats.
Yep, yep. Although my cat Lincoln is like part dog, so
That's true. Lincoln seems like part dog. Yeah, no, but he's very protective of Delaney. Like I was like tickling Delaney
Judah
just
is
to
very
get her to
protective of
get.
Delaney, right?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Okay,
He
the
he's
last
very.
subject we had was my cat.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, no, my son. Because we're talking about kids. Uh, Very protective of Delaney, and I was tickling her, and Judah comes up. He was like, "No, Dad, no, that's not helpful."
Thank you, Judah.
And my wife just lost it. Grace, she just fell over. She was like, "When did he become a full adult?"
There you go.
So, mm,
Okay.
that's my household.
Yep. Yeah, our household is just really busy with our big move. So
Yeah,
we're getting the new house ready. New paint on the walls, new carpet coming in, freshening it up and all that, tearing down some old wallpaper.
yeah,
All that fun stuff. So
that's a lot of work, bro.
yeah, I'm actually after the podcast, I have to run back to the house to finish painting because I made a big oops today.
Mm,
I had scheduled Fridays have not been good for scheduling lessons this summer. So one of my Friday students has moved to taking Thursday lessons before my rehearsal. And I was just painting, and then all of a sudden I get a call. Oh, I have to be at the church now to give a lesson. And there I am with a paintbrush in hand. Thankfully, they were very understanding. They were very forgiving. Thank you to my student. If you happen to watch this, thank you for your grace and patience. So
How late were you?
I was like 10, 15 minutes late. So
It's nice though, because your house is like right next to the church now, right?
Yep, that's right. So
It's like right there.
It was a whole, yeah. Thankfully, it was still a good lesson. Made a lot of good progress, but that's not why we're here.
Here's a question.
Yeah?
What do you use for your lessons? Like, do you use the Hal Leonard books or do you use something else?
It depends on the student and what they want. So if it's a student who is just starting off brand new and a book is going to help them get through it, then yes, I'm going to pull out the Hal Leonard book and help them walk through that until they're ready to pick songs on their own. But for some of my older students, we're going to be doing more of a song-based approach, where it's like, okay, what songs do you want to be able to play, and what techniques do you need to learn to be able to get there? And so it's a little bit more of a free form. We're not following a prescribed curriculum.
Yeah, I kind of do the same thing, or like a blending of the two.
Yeah,
I have like a handful of students right now. And a lot, it's a little easier because a lot of them are like brand new to guitar. So like the basics in Hal Leonard, guitar methods are good.
I find it's good just to have that book there for them to have something to refer back to, and then also if they have the same book that I have, then that means when they forget it, I can pull my book out during lessons.
Yeah, I have mine on digital, so I always have my laptop with me.
Yeah,
so it works out.
But even just having the book as reference material for later, it's like if they continue with guitar, it's still going to be an invaluable resource because you got chord chart diagrams, you have a couple songs in there, you have lists of techniques and guitar parts. It's just a really good reference to have, even if they're not gonna use go through it step by step.
Yeah, Leonard's Christian guitar book is good too, especially for strumming. I've used it once, and it was helpful for a student with just strumming, and they wanted to play at church, so had some old stuff in there though. Old as in like 90s, but
Yep. Well, as a 90s child myself, I can say nothing is older than the 90s.
But I grew up on the 80s, in the 90s, so thanks, Dad.
I actually find myself, I am drawn to music before the 90s and early 2000s and music after the 90s and early 2000s.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to worship music.
Yeah. I'm me, I'm that guy though. Like we're both that person. We don't listen to the mainstream. We're hipsters.
I was a hipster before it was cool.
Before it was cool, yeah. We don't listen to, not, I don't want to knock K-Love or the Star or whatever people listen to. I just don't listen to Christian radio.
Yeah. Recently, I've been listening to John Foreman Spotify mix. Getting those nice acoustic vibes.
True. I think we talked about John Foreman first episode.
Yes, we did. And still there. That was part of what inspired me to find the mix.
John Foreman.
Yep. So, Kickstarter update?
Yeah.
Okay. So, Kickstarter. We are currently sitting at 56%.
True.
And we are at 49 backers. So if you want to be the 50th backer, you can go be the 50th backer. That'd be cool.
We need you to be.
Yes, we do. So we have 49 backers now. At this rate, we need another 50 backers to be able to make it.
Mm-hmm. I don't beg, but I'm begging.
We can't do this without your help. So if you're listening to this and it is June of 2023, before June 23rd, go to Kickstarter and help us out. Help us take Christ the Hope of Glory into the studio. One big update that we want to highlight in today's episode is the concert tier. The price has been adjusted. So I had it at $750 before this, but finances are tight in the Northeast. A lot of churches in the area are really like feeling the grip of everyone having to pay 50% more for groceries over the last year and a half. So we have reduced the price of the concert level package to $600. And we're not expecting an individual to pay $600. Like, we want you to go and grab, as many of your friends as you want and say, hey, do you all want to get together and do this tier?
Yeah.
So, like, if you think about it, if you get you and, if you get you and 5 friends and it's $100 each, but if you were able to get, 60 people, $10 each, that's a great price for a ticket to a concert. And we'll come out and we'll play the entire album for you.
We will.
So,
no doubt.
The thing that we could really use help with is if you have a church that might be interested in a Christ the Hope of Glory concert, encourage them to sign up for this tier. Because it's a lot easier for the church to come in and say, hey, we're going to support this project as a church. And then the church can sell tickets to the show or can do an offering to help like offset that cost. So we are quite fine with them doing that. But if you have a church that would be interested in a Christ the Hope of Glory concert, share this link with them. The link for the project is in the comments, and I'll have it on the YouTube description as well. But share this with your worship director or your senior pastor and say, hey, let's get these guys in for a concert. I think that would be a great way to support local Christian music. Like, you get to be a part of making the album, and you get a live concert, and you also get 10 CDs to hand out at the concert. So I think it's a great deal. But I might be a little biased.
Yeah, it's a good album too.
Yeah.
So
we've done the concert twice already, and both times it's been really well received. I've been very encouraged by the response of the people who came and listened to the concert.
And in 2 different types of settings, like kind of like big band, all the instruments, to like just me and Dan and his wife.
Yep.
Both type of like acoustic and then big in your face instrumentation.
Yep. And I should say too that we can do this concert at a church. We can also do house concerts. So if you get 60 people and then put them all into a house, we can do a house concert. Just like they rocked it in the New Testament times.
The New Testament times.
The New Testament times. Okay. Yeah, so that's why I want to highlight. If you have a church and you think they might be interested in supporting this project, send your worship leader the link. Send your senior pastor the link and say, hey, can we get these guys in for a concert? That would be the best. So thank you.
Yep. And we have, I guess, 2 weeks-ish.
2 weeks, yep. 23rd is the last day. Which we also have a concert that day. So if you want to come hear the concert, hear the set list, come to the concert.
Yep.
Okay. But Jared, we have put this off long enough. We were going to talk about superheroes and Spider-Man last week, but then Kenny and Claire joined us, and that was great. If you didn't see that, go back and check out that episode.
Yep, last week's episode.
I really enjoyed our conversation with them.
Yeah, Kenny and Claire are really cool.
Yes, they are. Okay, but now let us embark on our superhero talks. So, do you have anything else you want to share about the latest Spider-Man movie?
You see, I shouldn't, because people are still watching it.
Okay.
You know, like spoilers and
So
stuff.
no spoilers.
No spoilers.
No spoilers.
Just go watch it. It's really good.
Okay.
Likelihood is you'll see your favorite version of Spider-Man in that movie.
Okay. So, let's start this off. I have a few icebreaker questions for us as we begin our talk about superheroes. If you could have one superpower, what would it be and why?
You want me to go first?
Yeah, I want you to go first.
See, I don't want superpowers. I want to be Batman.
So,
Unless
so the
count all
superpower
the
you
things-
want is money.
Not just money, he's highly intelligent. He's mastered every form of karate and like fighting style. He's a super genius.
So, okay, so we'll put him into the super intelligence, the hyper intelligence category. So he gets to be in there with Iron Man. And if that's the case, I guess we could throw Sherlock Holmes as a superhero too.
No, he's not a superhero. Sherlock Holmes. He's not in the super. What's he do?
Hyper intelligence.
He's a detective.
He has the same superpower as Batman.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't strike fear into the hearts of criminals. If he dressed up like Batman, though, maybe.
So that's what I'm saying. If he put on the costume and he started punching people, Sherlock Holmes would have the same level of power as Batman. It's just they express the power of hyper intelligence differently.
And Sherlock Holmes is a drug addict, though. So.
Well, it depends on which version you go with.
That's true.
Yeah. If you go with the books, he's not an addict. He's what is it?
A frequent user.
Frequent user. Yeah.
All right. Well, you heard mine.
Okay.
So
you're gonna go with hyper intelligence. I would be torn between some sort of time power or super speed. But I think I'd have to go with super speed because super speed can also imply time control because time is relative.
Well, at least slowing it down.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's what I would want to do. I don't know why I would want to speed up time.
Or go back in time.
I wouldn't be as interested in going back in time. I would be much more interested in being able to slow down time and have more time to either do things or more time to make decisions. Brandon Sanderson in his Mistborn novels, they have, one of the powers that the people have in that book is the ability to slow down time. This would be era 2 of his books. But they have the ability to slow down time, and then later on, spoilers, it's revealed that there's the opposite power of to okay, I'm describing it wrong. One of the powers is to basically you create a bubble, and then when you're in the bubble, like you're moving at normal speed in the bubble, but everything else is slowed down. So it's kind of like you're moving at you're moving this bubble of time is moving at super speed in the real world. And then there's the opposite of that, where there's a bubble of time and the real world is moving at super speed compared to it.
That sounds like, as a kid, I watched Dragon Ball Z. That just sounds like the hyperbolic time chamber.
Yeah, well, I'm pretty sure Brandon Sanderson is basically like writing anime in fantasy book form. So I would not be surprised if Brandon Sanderson has watched Dragon Ball Z. So, but the thing I was saying there, you know, so I wouldn't be too interested in slowing down time, and even the character in the book who can do that goes, "Yeah, I have the lame power."
That's funny.
So
that's still cool though.
Yeah, but the ability to like speed up time, and to do more things. I'm picturing like the Mega Mind when Mr. Metropolis, you know, is going like he's contemplating life. Everything is just moving super slow, and he makes the decision, and then he goes back to where he was.
Yeah, he makes a decision to fake his death.
Yeah. Spoilers.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen Megamind.
There's no, I mean,
yeah.
That's so old.
Yeah, I know.
It's a good movie though.
So
it's like Grace's favorite movie.
So, but I would go with that idea of super speed.
I like that.
And then I also wouldn't need a car. Except for when I go to concerts and I need to bring all my equipment. Actually, no, I wouldn't need a car.
Not even
because
that.
I could carry the equipment there piece by piece. And I would still get there faster than using a car.
Yep. And set it up.
Yeah. There we go. There you go. But I guess I would also need like super endurance to go along with the super speed. Imagine getting super speed, but not getting the endurance to use it.
Can't use it. Yeah, like the Flash has to like consume so much all the time.
Yeah.
So much food. Yeah.
I mean,
need the
I would not mind being able to eat more and not gain weight. How great would it be just to be able to eat Philly cheesesteaks all day and never gain a pound?
I feel like I wouldn't eat that all day. That's a whole nother discussion.
Yeah. Okay. So, second question on here. What is your favorite superhero and why?
Do I need to say it? We should make a caveat. Like, favorite superhero of all time out of every like superhero and like comic strand, like, is that what we're talking about?
Who is the superhero that resonates with you and why?
Overall, it would be Batman. Now, that's like a loaded thing because so many people say that he's not a real superhero, and those people are wrong.
Yeah. We've already established hyper intelligence counts as a superpower.
But if you break that up in like DC, Marvel, kind of like the competing kind of universes, worlds, whatever you want to call it, I would definitely in DC, Batman, obviously. But Marvel, Spider-Man.
Okay.
Spider-Man.
Why? Why Spider-Man?
I like both of those guys because they're like, at least Spider-Man, he's like an everyday dude.
Mm-hmm.
You know? But with spider powers. He's also got the super intelligence. He's like a super smart scientist.
Mm-hmm.
And I just kind of like their stories. I don't know. they're human, like intrinsically. You know, they're not like some like alien from outer space, or they're like
I
people.
I suffer pretty bad from secondhand embarrassment. Like I watch embarrassing scenes on TV and I start squirming. I like
Mm.
imagine myself in there, and I was a pretty awkward teenager as well. So I cannot watch the Marvel Spider-Man.
The new
Lindsay,
ones with Tom Holland.
yeah, Lindsay gets so frustrated with me because
Why?
I'm just sitting there squirming because it's like I internalize the embarrassment of his situations. I don't laugh at him. I'm just like, oh no, Peter, stop being so awkward, man.
You gotta love The Office then, huh? The Office is just a bunch of awkward situations.
Yes, yes, it is. So yeah, I suffer pretty bad from that secondhand embarrassment.
Mm. Yeah, I don't know. I just grew up with both of them. Like,
Mm.
that may be my bias too. I have like a picture. I had a picture. I don't know where it's at. There's
Uh-oh.
like a bulletin board. That bulletin board right here.
Mm-hmm.
I think Grace like packed it up or something. But it's me as a little kid dressed up as Batman with my grandmother,
Mm-hmm.
and Batman. He just resonates with me. I just like him. You know, I like their determination. I like how they just don't give up. I like how they do the right thing, whether it hurts them or not.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're just determined to put people before themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that about them. So I guess that's kind of like every superhero, but that's really like them though. Like again, because they are people. Like they're
Mm-hmm.
actually human.
Yeah.
So
I think I am also gonna have to go with Batman, but I think I have to credit the Christopher Nolan films for my love of Batman
mm,
because they did hit me at an impressionable age.
Christian Bale.
Yeah, those are good films.
Yeah.
Um, there is one thing I don't like about Batman though.
Hmm.
His code, his law that
About not killing.
yeah, that he's not gonna kill.
Why?
Like I can appreciate the sentiment and the looking to adhere to the law,
Hmm.
but there's many times where he is he is like perpetuating evil by not stopping it. And then also there are lots of things like he doesn't kill them, but that guy sure was maimed and is never going to walk again.
That's what you got to do though. I don't know. It also depends on what Batman
Mm-hmm.
you look at too. Like even in the comics, like probably one of the most iconic Batmans in
Mm-hmm.
the comic book world that even came to film. It's like Ben Affleck's Batman, which was like Zack Snyder and all that stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
there's a whole thing. It's like a whole fandom of just the Zack Snyder movies. But Ben Affleck's portrayal of Batman was
Betrayal
from the
or portrayal?
portrayal.
I still couldn't tell
I
if
don't
that
know
was a
that
P or a B.
it's a P. It's a P.
Portrayal.
Sorry,
Okay.
portrayal. Um, he it was a lot from Frank Miller's Batman in the comics, which that guy killed. That
Mm,
guy did kill.
yeah.
And Ben Affleck's Batman, probably one of the best fighting choreography scenes was from Batman vs Superman. There's this cool warehouse scene where he fights off like I don't know a dozen, more than 2 dozen, something like that, 2 dozen dudes, and it's just awesome. he like hits his guy with a box. A guy throws a grenade at him and he grabs it and throws it back at the guy, and
Mhm.
it's wild. So
I think the reason why I poke hard at that code though is I think it's played into our American cultural philosophy. Like there are certain lines of media that have a lot of weight when it comes to our subconscious philosophies of life. One of them, probably one of the most powerful ones I can think of these lines, is from Fiddler on the Roof. When he says, "An eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth will just make the whole world blind and toothless." That's a line that is deeply embedded in our culture and our understanding of justice and grace. But what it's done is it's taken actually a really good biblical line and twisted its meaning on its head. Because an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth is supposed to be a legal protection for the oppressed and for the poor.
right.
The rich are not able to go back and say, "Oh, you broke my hand, I'm going to cut off your arm." It's like, no, no, no.
Mm-hmm.
You can't go any further than what they did to you. It's like, "Oh, well, you didn't pay me, so now you owe me this much more." It's like an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. You can't have a punishment disproportionate to the crime. But now
Right.
Fiddler on the Roof has come and we all like have internalized this. Oh yeah, no, that's a good idea. To like an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth is a bad idea because then everyone's going to be blind and toothless.
Right.
So let's not do an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. Let's not have that as our standard of justice anymore. The problem is once you remove that as the standard of justice, then whatever is decreed by the judge, it has no basis in justice. It has its basis in, like, does it prevent the crime? Does it, rehabilitate? You have a bunch of different things that you can go into, but it's basically crime is no longer judged. A punishment for a crime is no longer applied on if it is just or not.
Right.
And so then we come to Batman's code. Oh, I don't kill. The good guy doesn't kill. And I think that's played into our idea of, like, I've seen it not just with Batman, but with a whole bunch of other heroes. And you have the classic trope. Like, the bad guy is so sure that the good guy's moral code is going to hold up that the bad guy is just, like, walking around like, look at me. I'm going to do this thing, and you can't stop me because that would make you a killer.
Yep.
And so the Batman code is played into this trope of good guys don't stop evil.
I think they do though.
Well, of course they do because of editing magic. It all works out in the end. But it is quite satisfying when Indiana Jones just pulls out his gun and shoots the guy with the sword.
That's a good scene.
Yes, it is.
I gotta watch the new one. I haven't seen it yet.
Neither have I. Okay, so
I get that.
yeah. So how about let's start wrapping this up because we're past 10 o'clock now, and I still have to go finish some painting. But
Oof.
just to wrap this up with some thoughts, what draws us to superheroes, and like let's think about superheroes in worship.
Mm-hmm.
Why are we drawn so much to superheroes? Why do we hold up superheroes that we want to be like? Is it idolatry?
If you're worshiping them, yes. Like if you hold them in high esteem. Like I love Batman, but I don't like capital L. I'm not going to die for like an image of Batman. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Or um if like my Batman, all my Batman paraphernalia stuff was like gonna burn in a fire, I'd be like, I can't take it with me. I'm not going back for it. Um, but I think we admire them, like heroes like that, because um, we like the ideals. You know, I think they highlight some of the um, what I want to say. They highlight some of the good things, the good the goodness of the design that God has instilled in us. Him writing the law within our hearts, and I think it highlights those things that we know, like we're without excuse, and we know.
So, like, there's something that just resonates with us when we see Captain America standing up for the oppressed.
Right, right, right. And there's a pendulum, right? So things can go too far, whether we take that and we distort that into a gospel within itself, or those kind of ideals within the a gospels within themselves, or we begin to worship these people. um but I think what they stand for, I think, resonates with people, writ large. Like, you know um it highlights the common graces, I think, that God has shared with all peoples,
You know what
not just his children.
you know what I find really interesting about it is that these heroes are like the embodiment of our ideals.
Hmm.
Um, Iron Man is this billionaire who's using his money for the greater good. Captain America is this guy who, you know, he doesn't got anything, but he's just going to stand up for what's right and he's going to keep fighting. He's like endurance in the face of evil. Batman is this idea of, you know, wrestling with vigilantism, doing what's right and justice, and how to work, how to do the right thing and uphold the law when the law itself isn't doing that.
Hmm.
But there's this underlying subtext that in order to be these ideals, the reason why these characters are the main characters of their stories is because they have been elevated in some way. They're not
Hmm.
normal humans. They have been elevated in a certain way, and because they have been elevated, they're able to embody these ideals.
Yeah.
And then I'm thinking about that in light of passage in Deuteronomy. God gives Israelites the law, and then he says to them, it's not so high that you should ask who goes up to get it, and not so low that you can ask who goes down to get it, but it's within your reach. It
Hmm.
is there. It is possible for you to do it. And I'm thinking about how each one of the individual laws that God gives us, is within our capabilities of doing. So, like, don't boil a goat in its mother's milk is something that each one of us is capable of doing. It's not like he said, okay, fly to Krypton and back.
Yeah.
It's like, God, how am I going to do that? Or he didn't say, okay, pick up that car and throw it at the bad guy. It's like, God, I'm not the Hulk. I can't do that.
Right.
Like, no, everything commanded is doable.
Yeah. Yeah. I think too,
Yeah. Oh,
and to an
if
extent.
I can interrupt one more time with where I was going with that.
Yeah.
It's like, and even though it's doable, I think part of our love of superheroes is that we recognize that we don't live up even to our own standards.
Yeah.
And so we recognize that, okay, all of these things are doable. Enduring in the face of evil, like Captain America, should be doable.
Right.
But I don't do that. And so I think part of our draw to superheroes is our looking for that, like our recognition of something needs to be elevated.
Yeah, that was kind of what I was going to say is we want to be that, you know. Um, it's interesting too that like superheroes take aspects of, and I think like almost distorted aspects of what we perceive God to be like,
Mm-hmm.
or what we desire him to be like, right? Even in his character, but they're all flawed too. You know, all the superheroes are flawed. They have weaknesses. They can be defeated. But even outside of that, like God has no weaknesses. He can't be defeated. Um, outside of those,
Yeah. Well, you can't compare
they're
God to a character in a story because he's the author of the story.
right, right. And so, but I think a lot of these heroes, like, you know, they call them God. A lot of times in the comics, they call them gods among us.
Mm-hmm.
You know, even Batman and these guys.
Yeah. Well, you get little g gods. And if you're
Yeah,
thinking like Greek mythology, it makes sense. They have about the same level of power.
yeah.
You know, and you get some demigods in there.
It's interesting. Oh, I never took the class. I think Grace did, but there's a philosophy of superheroes class with
Oh, here's
Dr.
Lincoln.
Palladino back in the day.
Everyone, say hi, Lincoln.
Doxy, books on Reformed theology, books on prayer, and then some comic books on Batman.
There we go.
Some graphic novels. But like I was saying, I think it really just boils down to that. I think we aspire to be them. We also know that we can't be them, and we worship them um, because they're so other, you know.
Mhm.
And if you're asking me, is that okay? No, I don't think people should worship them.
Yeah. Yeah, it's there's something like I don't know if we can combine the words worship and aspiration though.
Mm,
Because you might aspire to be like let's say I aspire to be a man after God's own heart, but I don't
hmm.
worship David. Um
Right.
I might aspire to have faith like Elijah, at least when he's facing the prophets of Baal and not when he's on the run. Needs a nap and a snack. You know,
Sometimes that's all we need, though.
yeah, but I don't worship Elijah. And so like I think the it can become an idol though if you start putting them into like the position of this is what I want to transform into and this is also what gives me a
Hmm.
sense of security and identity.
Mm, hmm.
Like if you
Hmm.
draw your identity from your superheroes, then you're running into this issue because you're supposed to be drawing your identity from your creator. However,
Yep.
superheroes can help point us to certain aspects of the creator. So I might say I want to have, faith like Elijah. Well, maybe I want to have the endurance like Captain America.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's right.
You know, Jared,
There's always
podcasts.
just that
Oh,
line. There's always just that line. Like
yeah.
you just gotta
Uh huh.
be careful.
Yeah. I think when we go into that, like one of the things is like I'm comfortable with fantasy and sci-fi being
Hmm.
in the entertainment realm.
Yeah.
Because what do I do? And I'm actually more comfortable watching fantasy and sci-fi entertainment than I am watching Christian entertainment.
Because it's better produced.
Yes, that too. Christian
And it's
entertainment
not
though is getting better. It's
God's not doing
improving in
seven.
quality.
That's
But
true. There's
even
actually this
once
really good one
Mhm,
coming out. It's in select theaters. I haven't seen it, but it's called Sound of Freedom.
mhm,
Jim Caviezel's in it.
okay.
It looks really good. It's a faith-based movie. He plays a cop or some type of cop
Mm-hmm.
in or law enforcement in sex trafficking, and it's about the end of sex slave, like trying to end
Mm.
sex slavery. And Jim Caviezel's just awesome.
Yeah.
Person of interest is just go watch that show. That whole show is so good.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, I was saying that even once Christian media rises to the same level of quality as secular media, I'm still not sure if I would prefer it over secular media, because when it comes to entertainment, I stick with entertainment as long as it is entertaining. As
Yeah,
soon as it is not entertaining, you know what I do with it?
yeah.
I
Out of here.
abandon it.
Mm,
And so I'm worried I'm worried, like, if you wrap up your entertainment with Christianity, like, do you start to associate Christianity with this thing that can be abandoned once it's not entertaining?
mm. It's a whole different
Yeah, that's a
subject.
whole different subject.
Maybe a future podcast would be talking about Christian entertainment
Yeah,
because
maybe.
that's a whole different beast.
If you want to hear us talk about Christian entertainment, go ahead and leave a comment, like, and subscribe.
Man, because I have thoughts on Christian entertainment that include not just movies and TV shows but like I mean, by and large, a lot of what's on the Christian radio
Hmm.
stations, I think that all is in there.
Okay. Well, maybe we can talk about that some other time.
Some other time.
Yeah, but we have been on here now uh, for 49 minutes and 9 seconds.
True.
So,
And you got to go paint.
yes, I have to go paint. So, wish me luck. You have a road trip too,
Yep.
don't you?
Yep. Tomorrow, me and my family leave to Minnesota.
Okay, fun stuff. Okay, well,
Yep.
thank you guys for listening. And if you're catching this on YouTube, thank you for watching. If you have a church that would be interested in a concert, point them to this link. We've just reduced the price to $600. And if you want to set up a house concert too, get a bunch of friends together and all go in together on it. This is a great
Mm-hmm.
opportunity to get a house concert. It's also limited to 10, so there's only 10 opportunities for a Christ the Hope of Glory concert. So thank you all for joining us, and I hope that you
Thank you.
have a good night. Okay. Bye.
Bye.